a hard-hitting, high-voltage revelation about how a dramatic palace raid, carried out with the authority of the state, set off one of the most unexpected moments of leadership restraint and reconciliation in recent Zulu royal history. A preview of how this video unpacks the raid, the tensions it triggered, the deeper cultural, political, and symbolic layers behind the king's forgiveness, and the final revelation that completely reframes the narrative around the event. A powerful, immersive thought experiment inviting viewers to imagine an institution, a home, a throne, a legacy being forcefully entered under state authority, and then deciding whether they could genuinely forgive the person responsible. A detailed breakdown of the raid, what triggered it, how state officials justified the operation, and why its timing shocked traditionalists and political commentators alike. Wider public outrage. Communities, cultural bodies, and political groups expressing anger, confusion, and disbelief at the audacity of raiding a monarch's residence. The palace environment hours after the raid. Heightened tension, worried advisors, royal household uncertainty, and internal assessments of political risk. Senzo Mchunu's strategic explanation, security, intelligence concerns, and the official reasoning he offered to defend the state's actions. The king's silent period, the days of calm, observation, and calculated restraint that caught analysts off guard. The forgiveness moment, the unexpected public message, its tone, its cultural weight, and the shockwave it sent through political and traditional structures. Cultural frameworks of forgiveness within Zulu leadership, historical precedents, ritual expectations, and how monarchs have traditionally handled conflict. Political recalibration, how the forgiveness instantly shifted tension levels between provincial leaders, national security structures, and the royal household. Placed here exactly, an interactive, story-driven call to action tied thematically to reconciliation, leadership, conflict, and public perception. Deep, twist-heavy, insight-driven continuation. Public sentiment reversal, how forgiveness changed the narrative from anger to reflection, drawing in both critics and supporters of the monarchy. Expert analyses, political scientists, historians, and conflict resolution specialists interpreting the king's move as a sophisticated leadership strategy. Power comparison, a dual-layer examination of authority, traditional vs governmental, and why the raid exposed the fragile balance between them. A human interest mini-story from someone inside the palace or nearby community who witnessed the emotional aftermath of the raid and reconciliation. How the event influences future political engagements between the king and key national figures, reshaping protocols and expectations. The broader national impact. How traditional leadership dynamics affect social cohesion, political stability, and cultural confidence during national tensions. A reflection on why forgiveness, when delivered from a seat of symbolic power, sometimes carries more authority than punitive measures. The potential pitfalls, misinterpretations of forgiveness, political exploitation, future overreach, and how these risks could unfold. Emerging reconciliation trend, how leaders across sectors are embracing symbolic forgiveness to reset fractured relationships and public narratives. A bold projection of how this moment sets a new template for modern traditional leadership, balancing heritage, diplomacy, and emotional intelligence. The psychological impact of public forgiveness on citizens who look to the monarchy for emotional stability during times of institutional conflict. Examination of similar historical events where monarchs, chiefs, or traditional leaders used forgiveness to realign political forces after high-stakes confrontations. Alternate timeline. What might have happened had the king chosen retaliation or public condemnation instead of reconciliation? A deeper, symbolic interpretation. What forgiveness means within the cultural teachings of the Zulu nation, and how this moment reinforces royal legacy. A sophisticated, polished close that ties the emotional, political, and cultural threads together, while hinting at the next chapter in leadership and governance analysis.